All right, welcome to a very special edition of Dinner Television. We're in Fort McMurray tonight here at Sny Park at an event that is commemorating 1 year since a wildfire drove nearly 90,000 people out of this community. And tonight's event is part of that healing process when it comes to the personal, emotional side of the equation. The other half of that, of course, is the rebuild. And we are well underway with respect to that. 650 building permits issued so far. And to walk us through the ups and downs of the rebuild to date, here's Andrea Pescott.
Again, gotta dodge. I can feel the heat here. This is insane. Oh my God.
One year later, block after block of precious memories reduced to ash, now giving way to heavy machinery, mud, and houses, soon to become homes once again. The sound of construction fills the devastated neighborhoods as hundreds of new homes are built.
We're in Avocen. We lost just over 1,100 units in Avocen. So you are seeing about, I believe, 200 houses under construction right now in Avocen.
Erin O'Neill is overseeing Fort McMurray's rebuilding efforts, an enormous task, but one she's up to and taking on with everything she's got. There are a lot of challenges. This isn't a new development. It's a construction zone in a residential neighborhood.
You have people living here, you have children going to school, you have kids wanting to, play on the streets, play at the playgrounds, and then you have all this construction going on.
Ask pretty much anyone, and they will tell you Fort McMurray is beginning to heal.
Certainly a year's passage of time can mend a lot of things. Obviously the first environment is the scarred trees, and so you'll see that reminder constantly. But what has shifted is the number of homes that were lost that are beginning to be rebuilt, and we've got a construction season ahead of us, and I think this is going to be our biggest year for building and getting people back where they belong.
As once desolate neighborhoods are now buzzing with activity, one Fort McMurray man who lost his family home to the fire is looking to help regrow the green part of his community by planting trees one by one.
Not only the houses went down, but the trees and everything around their houses as well. So this is just a little rebirth, I guess, of the trees and for our neighbors and friends.
Like the seeds of this Norway spruce, rebirth and recovery is going to take time. And for some, they haven't decided yet whether they'll call Fort McMurray home again.
You are seeing for sale signs throughout. It's kind of a mix of what people are doing.
Erin O'Neill, the woman tasked with making these once vibrant neighborhoods whole again, says Fort McMurray did not lose its community heart when that monster inferno swallowed its homes. And knowing that is her motivation to make this happen.
Every time I come into the communities, something has changed and another house has gone up, and you see more people moving back home, and just to see that, it's worth it every day.
The people I'd like to thank is everybody in Canada, everybody in the province, but mostly the first responders. You guys are amazing. You guys did. The police, the fire, the forestry folks, former oil barons, Kevin Lacroix and Mike Marianchuk, for coming and staying here and fighting the fires and saving my home, saving my hometown. Thank you. That's all I can say. It's still tough. It's coming up a year, but I still can't go to some of the areas. It's my home, and it hurts to see it beat like that, but I'll tell you what, this town's too strong. It's going to fight back, and it's going to come back with a vengeance. And Mother Nature, you've got nothing on us.
This construction site looks like hundreds in Fort McMurray, but for Steve MENARD, it's far more than just another new home. It's his home. In fact, it's the first ever build for the construction novice, an idea born from a conversation with his stepson.
He said, you know, I built 4 homes here in Fort McMurray. You've got one end of this nailed, I've got the other end nailed. You deal with the bureaucracy end of it. I'll get the blueprints rolling. Between the two of us, we'll get this house built. With the trees gone, and you know, we got a view downtown. It's quite beautiful in the evenings.
MENARD is ever the optimist, but you couldn't blame him for feeling the beast's burden. During the homecoming last summer, as he turned onto his street in the fire-ravaged neighborhood of Abasand, he realized he had nothing left to come home to.
And we had a rock in the front next to the sidewalk, and it had a lamppost with a street, or with our house number on it. It's when I spotted the lamppost that had melted and fallen over, and where it said 756, that piece was burnt and on top of the rock off to the side. My gosh, I said, there's our house, there's the rock. I needed to heal, and I didn't know how to go about that, and I just figured that building the home would definitely keep me preoccupied.
Thus, Steve the equipment salesman became Steve the builder.
First board I cut was 37 7/16. I cut it 37.5.
Work on Home 2.0 began in November, just in time for the brutal bite of the Fort McMurray winter. Study sessions went for hours on end as he consumed every building book and YouTube video he could find. Still, the biggest hurdle? Overcoming skepticism from city planners.
We managed to convince the folks at the warranty, and I managed to convince the folks at the Alberta government level. I became a registered builder, a homeowner/builder in the province of Alberta, which allowed me to go pull my own permits.
MENARD has been relentless, every day from dusk till dawn, no matter the forecast. But he concedes it has come at a cost.
I haven't been out in any social circle since the fire. I leave my house, I fill up my thermos at the 7-Eleven, and I come completely right to the job, and I've been here every day except for Christmas and my granddaughter's 7th birthday. So I still haven't driven around to other parts of the city and seen some of their devastation and how they're rebuilding over there.
The weight of the undertaking has been overwhelming, occasionally pushing him to the brink. On at least one occasion, it was his good luck charm, a small wooden heart, that inspired Steve to keep going.
I was pretty much ready to pack her in this particular evening, and I got up from my chair, and the heart dug into my leg and dropped me to my knee. And when I reached in to see what it was the heart, and I looked at it and I sat back down in the chair and I came up with a new plan.
That new plan includes a place for memories that he salvaged from the fire, like his grandson's hockey skates.
So I sifted through the ashes for about 4 hours and found one.
The walls may be new, but the home's spirit pays tribute to its predecessor.
When I look at that corner where the jersey used to hang, and we're going to have a new jersey there, and there's going to be a new puck, and there's going to be a new painting for my granddaughter, and there's going to be new things in here. So again, that gave me something to look forward to. Forward to our first sleepover with the grandkids. That's what I'm super pumped about.
Steve won't partake in any events on the anniversary of the evacuation. He'll be too busy putting the finishing touches on his home. After all, the big party for family and friends is slated for July 1st. After that, well, he might finally take a day off.
I think I just might sit back and see what's good for Steve. You know, a few rounds of golf, hand out a few cold pops in the front deck here and a hot dog to the odd contractor that goes by, and yeah, and just help some folks out here in town if I can. I'm really looking forward to helping some people out.
I had the 4x4 down the side of the hill down to get to waterways, and at the time I knew I only had minutes. By the time I got there, there was about 30 seconds, and it was gale force wind coming towards my house. And when I got to the door, the house was full of smoke, and the dogs thought they were doomed. I loved them dearly. I would never forgive myself if I didn't get them. Yeah, I want to thank all the regular people across Alberta. Thank you very much for your help. And also the people across Canada, because there's people who evacuated across Canada. I'm sure they got all the help that we got from all the regular people.
Now what does our little tea look like?
For many of the 4-year-olds in Carrie Finn's early entry class, there's no memory of that harrowing wildfire escape. But even they aren't immune to the beast's towering shadow. One little boy recently shared his sorrow over a lost home, only to find his friends ready to embrace a new class project.
One of my little girls said, Mrs. Finn, I can help him build his roof. And then they went on, I can help you build your living room. I'll help you build your kitchen. I can help you build your garden. And it went on, and you could see his face. They're not going to help him, but in his heart, he felt helped.
Then, there's Beacon Hill School.
50% of our students either lost their home completely or were displaced from their homes for a significant amount of time, but 100% of our kids were affected.
That school survived the fire. Most nearby buildings didn't. The school is slated to reopen next fall, but as the fire-ravaged neighborhood is being rebuilt, the 92 remaining students took up residence in this hallway at a downtown school. The reality of the blaze hits hard here in these cramped quarters, which is why teachers have adopted regular mindfulness exercises and an open dialogue with kids, integral tools to help them handle potential triggers.
So our first fire drill of the year was very planned. We talked about it with kids beforehand. The kids were lined up at the door waiting for the bell. We had one class that went outside before the bell and just watched it happen. So we were able to accommodate based on anxiety and things like that.
But while the flames may have been tamed, therapists say that many students are only beginning to sense the emotional effects.
It's getting busier. It's getting busier and the incidences are getting more severe. I'm starting to see more signs of escalated behaviors within the students, especially with the teenage population. More at-risk behaviors are happening.
Therapist Melanie FRASER says the biggest hurdle is helping her young patients understand and verbalize their feelings.
They don't have that language at that point, and it takes building capacity with them to teach them that language and help them understand that they may be having some side effects of some of the things that occurred on May 3rd.
Parents play a vital role in helping kids find those words. A small animated fire in a cartoon was once enough to set off an anxiety attack in CHRISTINA BURSEY's 5-year-old daughter. But through play, the child has found her voice.
We were sitting at home and we were playing Barbies together and each had a Barbie. And I said, "Hello, how are you?" And she said, "Hi, is it okay if I stay at your cabin because my house burnt in a fire and I'm waiting for a man to rebuild it?" And she's 5 and that was a year ago, but because we're still in the rebuild process, this is what she's hearing now.
But it's not just the kids who are having difficulty articulating their pain. Whether controlled burns or snowmelt, adults are being triggered, which puts a greater onus on them to take part in their child's sessions.
Parents are getting triggered by the fact that the snow is melting. These parents are starting to feel possibly something else could happen, not feel safe again in their environment. And parents are the pillars of strength. So if they're not doing well, the children aren't doing well.
Officials also acknowledge that there's work to be done in the classroom. A sudden departure last spring created an educational gap and a growing need for tutorial services to help the kids catch up.
To this point, we have about 500 register in that program. There'll be more between now and the end of June. The gap is real, but we are working through that process, and we believe that in the next year or so, we should be able to narrow that and then keep moving forward.
Still, it is optimism that now wafts through the halls of Fort McMurray schools. Perhaps nowhere is that more evident than in Carrie Finn's classroom. Students are nurturing this tree, salvaged from a nearby forest. And much like the kids, it's already grown leaps and bounds and putting May 3rd behind it.
It's kind of grown with us, and it's spring now, so hopefully we'll get some new leaves, and the children water it and they nurture it, and so I just see it as being really symbolic.